The stage is yours, Mikael.
Thank you.
Welcome.
And thank you for being here this morning. It seems like it's more interesting to be here in the evening, since we have twice as many people attending the party compared to right now. But we are going to look a little bit on some of the things that the panel was just talking about, and we'll try to put that into a little bit more practice on how we can go ahead and make sure that we win the profitability game. Okay? So, the agenda for today is really to talk a little bit about what do we need to do, how can we use data, and how can we use this data in order to drive more direct bookings. We're going to talk about some practical examples on what other customers of ours have done and what you can do in order to optimize your profitability, basically. So who am I? My name is Mikael. I work for Cendyn. I'm Senior Director in the Business Solutions Group. And I came to Cendyn through an acquisition about 2 years ago. So let's start with why profitability. Well, I don't think that we need to really discuss why we need profitability, right? Everyone knows that we need to have profitability, but in this context, I think we need to ask ourselves the question, so how do we go about to get more profitability? Because we know that we lose a lot of money from the commissions that we pay to OTAs, and we need to find a way to pull back that revenue from the commissions that we're paying out. And in order to do this, we need to increase the non-room revenue. As we do that, we will get more share of pocket from the customers. And the easiest way to do this is simply by utilizing some of the means that we already have, meaning gathering more information about the guests or the potential guests that we have, and make sure that we personalize the guest experience as much as possible in order to drive this. So one of the things that we are not utilizing enough, I think, in the industry as such, is really data about our guests. And the best data that you can have is your so-called first-party data. The data that you collect about your guests that you don't purchase, but it's really the data that you collect. Why is this important? Well, it is important because A, it is really reliable information that you have collected yourself about your guests. And this could be everything from stay-related data, it could be data from your websites, the behavior from the guests, and so on. This data is, in most cases, when you collect it, uniquely adapted to your business and your needs. And hopefully, compliant with the privacy regulations. And it's really cheap to get this data, compared to if you get it from third parties. So what you need to do, I think, is to really bring this data together, ideally in some kind of centralized platform. And this data that you're collecting can give you so much insight into what your guests or your potential guests really are interested in. It could be things like, what are they clicking on your website? It gives you an idea about what are they really interested in. Is it spa? Is it family vacation? Is it more for business-related topics and so on? So you can use that information. You can look at when are they actually trying to book a stay for. And this information is, of course, also something that is extremely important. What kind of rates are they interested in? So all that information. And then you can start using that information from other sources. So when they stay at your property, you know what actually they booked. Did they do any other purchases? Did they do F&B revenue with you and so on? You can analyze this data into great detail in order to figure out much more about what's going on and what triggers your specific customers, because everyone's customers are different, right? Once you have the data, we can start talking about personalization. If we go back a number of years, then personalization was something that was nice to have. It was cool to have it and, good. But today is critical. I pulled out a couple of different studies here, and from well-known names like McKinsey or some studies that Salesforce have done and so on. And what they're all saying, and we know this, right? We know this, that 76% of all customers and companies, they understand that, I need to deliver uniquely tailored information to my customers. They expect that today, right? This is something that I found quite interesting. The relevancy group. They say that if you do a little bit more advanced personalization, we're talking about email marketing right now. If you do a little bit more than saying, hello, first name in your emails, then you are going to have a lot more revenue coming in, going up and driving up the revenue by up to 17%. That's pretty cool, I think. And we also see that by using personalization, you can reduce your acquisition cost and increase the efficiency of the marketing money that you're spending. And this is highly important because you're spending a lot of money on brand awareness, you're spending a lot of money on pay-per-clicks and so on. And this, money needs to be well put in use. And it's really, you have to think about the whole guest journey. My focus today here, and where we're starting, is really around the website and how you can drive direct bookings on the website. But you really have to think about this whole guest journey and the personalization on a bigger scale. So it comes to driving the demand to the website, making sure that they really understand the importance of the personalization there to get people on the website. When you have them on the website, personalize the content on the website. And then, of course, looking at the same thing for email marketing, the information and messaging in the booking engine. Really try to have a seamless experience and a personalized experience throughout the whole guest journey. So it's important that you kind of drive all the different communication points that you have with data that you collected. So the first-party data becomes even more important in a scenario like this. So, what do hotel guests expect today? Well, all of our guests today, apart from the fact that everyone is bombarded by offers and information from a million different sources. We're all spammed by emails and offers, and we open up a very small fraction of the emails that we're receiving, unless it's your boss, because then you have to open it, right? The problem that we have today is that guests are experiencing a lot of good service from other types of industries. We're used to work with tools or applications from Netflix, from Spotify, and all these different solutions that personalize and tailors information based on what I am interested in, right? So when I go to a website and I want to book a stay, I expect to have something similar today to a large extent. I don't want to have a generic website. Well, it's nice to have it, but what the website is really the front face. It's the business card of the property. It needs to be beautiful. It needs to, create emotions that I want to stay here, and it needs to be relevant to me as a website visitor. And you can do a lot with a website, but the important thing is really that the website content changes and adapts depending on who you are and where you come from, and not the country of origin or something like that, but rather what interests you have. So, for example, if I receive an email, marketing email, or I see an ad somewhere, and I say, whoa, this looks interesting. I need to de-stress and detox after ITV, right? Then when I click on this ad or this email, I want to come to a website that actually also talks about the same thing. If I come to a generic website, then I lose interest. And when I lose interest, I have a bounce. I'm going to go away and try to find something else. So I need to connect those two. And the only way I can do this is by understanding my guests with the data I collected and put that into use and connect that. So sophisticated personalization is important. So how do I go ahead and do this? Well, there are so many things that you can do. And there's so many ways that you can attack this problem. But if I should pick out two things that are really, really important in order to drive more revenue and more direct bookings, well, apart from the fact that, hey, you need to know your audience. You need to do a segmentation, regardless if this is email marketing or on the website, but you need to know who your audience is. And then you need to make sure that your audience understands your website. It needs to be easy to find what they're looking for. As soon as they don't find where they're going on your website, or if your website is not really guiding them to the right place, then you lost them. They're gone. So you need to be able to see and anticipate where the users need to go and make sure that they can find their way there very, very easily. That's important. Number two, make sure that it's easy to do a booking. If you have a booking widget on your website, then make sure that that widget is always present. It's always easy to access so that you can get that conversion from a looker to a booker as soon as possible. That's extremely important. And whilst we're talking about that, use your website for other things too. You can use the website to capture more data. Capture this first-party data about your visitors. You can use web forms to collect signups for your newsletters. That's good. You can have them provide preference and interests on the website and make use of that information for other engagements that you're doing. Showcase your property. Make sure that they really understand, hey, this is a great place to stay. Here's what you can do at our property. And then make sure that you have clear call to actions on the website, doing reservations, add inquiries about, maybe having a wedding at the property or whatever. Make sure that that is visible and guide your visitor towards these things. It's not just like, yeah, this is our property. It's, we have nice rooms. Let them know that you want to have their business by making sure that you show them that, hey, here's where you can book. This is what you can book. But you don't only have to capture data about your guests through newsletter signups. If you have a loyalty program, then you can make sure that people sign up for the loyalty program as well, which is actually even better because it allows you to extend the questionnaire with information about the guests and their preferences and interests in a maybe even further way than what you would get from a normal newsletter. So that's an excellent opportunity for you to really connect with your guests, understand them better, and make use of that data. What else do we need to look about and think about? Well, site performance, extremely important. Because you're selling emotions on the website. You're selling a dream. And that dream then means that you have to have big images. You have to have videos on the website. And if you have that, there's a risk or likelihood that the website will be a little bit slow if someone is not sitting on a fiberglass connection towards the internet. So you need to make sure that you have content delivery networks set up with images stored all around the world for faster download speeds. That's one thing. Make sure that the navigation and the UI on the website is easy to understand. Yeah, it's cool when you have really funky things happening on the website and things moving around a lot and really cool floating navigations or whatever. But really make sure that it's easy to operate. That's the most important thing. Provide a clear path of booking The customer should just click once, and then there should be in the booking funnel for the reservations. Make sure that everyone also can operate this and use this on mobile devices. Depending on the country we are in, we will see more or less use of mobile devices, but it is very, very present today. And then, of course, last but not least, make sure that it really reflects your properties, the values that you have, the look and feel of your branding, and so on. And every couple of years, every 3 years or so, maybe 4 years, you have to start thinking of, is my website up to date? Do I need to do a refresh of the website? You are able to increase the conversions on your website with personalization. It is very important. Not all tools do allow you to do personalization, but for the tools that do allow you to do personalization, you can do very funky things. Like, for example, greet returning visitors, even if you don't know them, greet them differently than someone that comes for the first time on your website. Make sure that you look at, where does this website visitor origin from? Do they have specific language preferences? How much time have they spent on my website? What are they typically clicking? Have they tried to book but abandoned the booking funnel? All of these things are important data points that you can use in order to make sure that you steer them towards what you want, meaning direct bookings. Make sure that they complete their booking. It's really about making it personal. You can have special offers. And if you have a special offer, make sure that they understand that this special offer is not always going to be there. Maybe you have a countdown saying, it's 2 days and then, this special offer is gone, or 5 minutes. There's a lot of companies doing like, last room here, or, 5 more seconds, make it quick. But it is really important. Use special offers, banners, light boxes, or pop-ups, as they're always also referred to. Make use of that. I have a couple of examples here. This is kind of the one that I really enjoy. Greeting someone that has stayed at your property differently. And this brings us into kind of the next point where I'm going towards, is really about, okay, you have collected some data. You use this data for the website, but if you hook it up to maybe your PMS through the CRM, you could do much more. You could see if someone has stayed at your property before and greet them differently on the website. Or if they have an upcoming stay, make that known on the website too. It's great. It will be great to see you again next week. That's pretty cool. So yeah, personalization is important. I have a couple of examples here on what we have done with a couple of different customers around the websites and custom booking engines and whatnot. So with Hersha is a company in the US. They have about 30 properties and about 4,500 rooms. And as far as I recall, we did a custom booking engine with them. We did some improvements on the website around how to navigate it, how to find things. And what they did was they improved the conversion rate by 36%. And they reduced the bounce rate. I think this is maybe more impressive. They reduced the bounce rate of 55%, meaning that people that come to the website but don't really find what they want to, so they leave the website. And they increased the revenue overall with 35%, so not bad. Lowe's, again a US company, I know, I apologize for that. These guys increased the traffic on the website dramatically. This was, of course, also due to the fact that there were some other campaigns involved in the whole thing, marketing campaigns, right? But, boost in the conversion rates, they reduced the bounce rate, so really, really important things in order to drive the profitability. So let's take this one step further. Or what do you have to do in order to take it one step further? Well, first and foremost, you need to make sure that you work with tools that allows you to collaborate and automate your processes. And that allows you to really drive personalization on your websites, for example. Automate as many tasks as possible. Because we all know that we don't really have that much staffing. And we have a high turnover in staffing in the hotel industry. And if you start incorporating personalization, if you start making use of all this data that you have at your disposal, you're going to be able to wow your customers. They're going to say, wow, cool, they understand me. And by doing that, you almost already won the profitability game. Because these guys are going to go and book with you. And they're going to book with you directly if you prove to them that you understand them. You speak their language. Not necessarily English or German or whatever, but really you understand them, you speak to them about things that are interesting to them. And that, you get that. Make sure that you connect all your various systems in order to really utilize the data that you have in all these different environments. Using a CRM or a CDP or whatever helps you with that, definitely. And if you have a CRM or a CDP, you're able to build central profiles or unified profiles of your guests. And with these profiles, if they're then hooked up to your various systems, so your marketing automation, your website, and so on, then you can truly benefit from all the data that you're gathering. Then you're not just hoarding data for the sake of it. Oh, I'm clicking it wrong. Yeah. So what I just said is, hey, you can connect your CRM with your content management system if it allows you to do that. And when you do that, you can really get all the things that I talked about earlier. Really make sure that if I have someone that stayed with me before, I address them differently. If I have someone with an upcoming stay, I can address them differently. And that allows you to, this bullet should probably be a lot bigger actually. You can make sure that you are not competing on price with your competition. You compete with value and that you understand your customers. And they will return to you if you show them that you understand them. What you need to do as kind of the next step is to make sure that you go beyond the transaction, go beyond this one stay. You manage to get the guest to your property because they found the website nice, they found your campaign nice. But you need to build a relationship with them, continue that, tell them stories, get them motivated, engaged with you. Let them become the ambassadors of your branding because they found your property the absolute best and coolest one. As an example that I experienced myself, I was traveling quite heavily to the US a couple of years ago. I went to the US, to San Francisco, once a month. It was one time I was extremely tired after a very long trip. I had a lot of delays on the flight from Munich. Came to the hotel, to the front desk, checked in, and I just mentioned that, I'm totally exhausted from this long trip. Come to my room, and I start to unpack a little bit. I'm really, really tired. And then it knocks on the door. It's like, okay, who's there? It's room service. I didn't order any room service. And I got a cheese plate with fruits and a card from the front desk saying, hey, I heard you had a long day. Hope this will ease up everything and you will have a great evening. Do I stay at any other property when I'm in San Francisco? Never. You can bring this then to, we talked about website personalization. You can bring this, of course, to your marketing automation. Because this is really where you can start to build up the relationship and continue it to be a good relationship. Send your guests personalized emails with offers, with specials. Let them know that you are still interested in having their business. Remind them of that. And keep them coming back with that, because that, at the end of the day, the conversion rate of existing customers is far higher and far cheaper than going out and trying to hunt new customers. Invite them to loyalty programs. Invite them with specials. Greet them on anniversaries, birthdays, whatever you have to. And nurture this relationship. Make sure that you get as much usable data from them as possible and utilize this data again and again over again in order to really make sure that they come back. Jumeirah, a good example, and I'm reaching my end, I know. Jumeirah, a fantastic customer that we have. They have on average, and this is email automation then, they have 45% open rate on their emails on average, which is amazing. They managed to increase, they almost doubled the revenue that they get from their customers by implementing our CRM solution there. And they also, through all their campaigns, managed to go from an average stay nights from 1.6 to 3.1, which is kind of double as well, right? But I mean, this is amazing. This gives you an extremely nice return of the investment. And this is just a starting point, because you can utilize this data then for other purposes. And you can use this for social media as well. Take your profiles from the CRM, target people on social media, or build lookalike models and target people that are similar to your best customers. So again, it's really about leveraging the data that you have already. And you have a lot of this data today. Unlock it. Or if you're not capturing the data today in a way that you need to have it, you have to start thinking about how you can do this, because it will help you in the longer run. Then make sure that you kind of try to personalize the booking experience or the website experience. It's your business card to the world. This is important. If you have the ability, not everyone can do this, but if you have the ability, connect your website to the CRM, because that will allow you to take it really to the next level. And, try to increase the non-room revenue as much as you can. Because that's really the icing on the cake. If someone is really already at your property, the competition for a breakfast or other offerings, other revenue, it's a lot less. That was it.
Thank you, Mikael.
Thank you for that.